Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. And do you need to farm more biometrics? That's right. Are you struggling when you press this button and you don't have tens of thousands of bios here waiting for you to use on different characters to get them up to the next level so that you can enjoy them and play with them at a high level? Are you struggling to get characters from level 0 to 60, 60 to 70, native tier 2 characters, etc.? Well, have no fear, because I'm about to give you my new updated biometric farming guide, baby. Because you know what? We crap on Netmarble a lot for how bad the rewards are in a ton of game modes, and it's true, especially, say it with me now, ABX rewards, and they need to be better. However, one reward that is actually better than ever is biometrics, and we need tons of biometrics, and they're actually giving us different ways to farm lots of biometrics, and the last few updates have given us even more ways to farm biometrics. So that is one resource, one of the few resources that they're actually giving us enough of, or almost enough of, whereas we're desperate for more gold, tier 3 materials, tier 2 materials, etc. So I'm going to try and give you as robust and as full of a guide as possible, and if you follow all of these steps, it's possible to farm, are you ready? Over 14,000 bios a month. Yeah, you can potentially farm over 14,000 bios a month if you can do everything and if you have enough resources. So, and it doesn't cost money, it doesn't cost crystals. So here we go. We're going to jump in. First of all, we're going to count the 8 biometrics you get per day for free. Now, if you're a high VIP level, this chest is going to reset faster, but if not, it doesn't. So 8 free biometrics a day from the hero chest means that you're going to be getting 240 biometrics per month. There we go. We've already started it off. Next thing you're going to want to do with your account is you're going to want to start a heroic quest. There are 3 or 4 free heroic quests, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and Luke Cage. And then there are 3 epic heroic quests that are paid 750 crystals. You don't have to choose the 750 crystal ones. Now, Arachnite's okay, Wave is a decent support, and White Fox is a great character, but if you're just looking for bios, just start one of these. I started the Iron Fist epic quest, Protector of Kunlun, and I'm going to be getting 40 biometrics per week, plus these boxes, which means I'm going to be getting 160 biometrics a month from the heroic quest. It's not a lot, but it does add up. You should also check the heroic quest. Oh, I have to enhance some ISO. You should check this regularly and make sure that you follow it so that you can collect all the things, because if you don't collect all of the things, and collecting all of the things is the most rudimentary way I can explain how to do it, then you will get locked out of the week, and then if you want the extra rewards, you have to pay crystals. You don't want to do that. So there you go. Oh, look, next one, Danger Room. We'll talk about why that's important. You're going to want to play lots of Danger Room. Next up, you're going to want to do Dimension missions. Now, you're going to want to do Dimension missions first, and doesn't really matter if you're at difficulty 10 or difficulty 15, but I think difficulty 15 is the best. Actually, you know what? It does matter, because at difficulty 10... no, it doesn't matter. Anyways, you're going to want to do these first, and the reason why you do these first is because boost points. The energy savings per boost point is very important, and some of the ways that you farm biometrics require boost points or energy, some don't. So you want to use up you want to burn your boost points first, and then you want to go back and do the ones that don't cost boost points. So here you can see I'm getting between 2 and 3 bios with almost every single drop. So we got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 bios for 10 is actually really good. So that's going to give you roughly 60 to 65 bios per day for doing your total number of dimension missions. Now, of course, if you don't do as many dimension missions because you don't have enough energy, then that's obviously going to eat into the amount of bios that you get. Why is my inventory full? But you should be aiming to complete at least the first 4 stages of the dimension mission accumulation reward. Obviously, the gold is amazing, the rift tokens, and the comic card chest. Sometimes I guess you could skip the last 3 there, the dimension chest, the custom gear chest, or the ISO 8 set, the custom gear chest, and the 650 tokens. But the first 4 are very important, but these don't give you bios. That's the only thing. You can exchange the tokens for bios, sure, but what I always do is I do 20 runs of this at the start of my day, not only to get my uniform XP, because I'm high VIP, that's only for high VIP levels, 15 and above, but also to burn my boost points. So now you've burned your boost points, you've got your heroic quest running, you've got your dimension mission rewards. How are you going to get more biometrics? Well, now you're going to go and do Alliance Battle Normal. Alliance Battle Normal, which you can do every single day quite easily. You can see it's just any speed character, any universal character, any female character. Very, very easy. A day 1 or day 2 account can do normal alliance battle. And then once you've been playing for like a week or more, you should be able to do every single day of normal alliance battle. That's going to net you 25 bios a day, every day, I believe, which is going to then equate to 750 bios a month. You see how this quickly adds up? You got 240 over there, you got 65 a day over here, you got 750 a month over there. Boom. Okay, so what's next? Again, your boost points, see my boost points are down to 21, they're still recharging. So I want to play something else now that doesn't require boost points or energy. Maybe I'm tapped out on my energy as well. So we're going to go and play legendary battle. You don't need to pay crystals for any of the legendary battles. You can if you want, but you know, you can just go to here to the Ragnarok one. You can either do the Thor one against Hulk, which is the fastest, or you can do this one here. Now you do need to get the most amount of bios from this. You do need to get his uniform to Mythic. Let's see here. Yeah, you do need to get this uniform to Mythic. You should buy this uniform and get it to Heroic anyways, just for the free card, but you do need to get it to Mythic to get the most amount of bios. So this is the only one that actually does require some crystal investment ahead of time, but I honestly recommend it because the card is amazing. The premium comic card that you get, the Loki #2, and then the chest is awesome because it can have 30,000 gold in it, or it can have 5 biometrics. So I'm just going to open one. I was hoping, but yeah, that can open up with 5 biometrics. So on average, from the legendary battle, you're probably going to see between 150 and 300 bios a month. You can also get a crit bio reward. You have the biometrics here. Instead of 5, it can drop 50 bios. So you could get like 50, 60 bios in a single day from just playing this 5 times. So it's super good, easy way, and it's completely free. It doesn't cost boost points or energy at all. So now you're still recharging your boost points, but you've got more energy now to spare. So you're going to jump into the story mode, and you're going to play story mode, alternate mode. Now this can obviously be difficult if you're a new player. This is not really accessible, but if you've got even one tier 3, you don't need to bring the required tier 3. You can just jump into a mission, like for example 3-1 is super duper short. So I can jump in here with this team, and just to show you guys that you don't really need to have multiple characters, we're going to drop them, and then I'm just going to put in, let's say, tier 3 Captain America. And so yeah, he's a villain. I'm pretty sure villains are fine on this stage. Yeah, and we're just going to run in, and we're going to run through this mission. There's obviously a chance that you're not going to get any biometrics, but I recommend if you have tier 3s that you should be running these stages, potentially all the stages if you have enough time, but if not, at least the stages that are quick, like 6-2 and 3-1, at least once a day, because you're going to get that level 4 uniform XP chip on top of possibly getting between 12 and 16 biometrics. 10 plus biometrics for 8 energy is crazy good. Now of course, depending on how much time you have to play the game, and depending on your roster, you may not like playing story mode extreme. And obviously, if you don't have any tier 3s or awakened characters, you cannot play story mode extreme. So this is where we get into a little bit more of the, so we didn't get a bio, but we got some pretty awesome rewards there, and you can continuously farm that stage for bios. And I made a separate video about this specifically with specific stages besides 3-1 and 6-2, etc. You can continuously farm this for 8 energy, and it doesn't eat your boost points. So if you have a ton of energy and no boost points, you can do this, and then when your boost points charge up again, you go back and you play more dimension missions to get more of those completion rewards and to get more bios. So you do all that. But let's say you don't like the story mode, or you don't like the or you just don't want to farm that specifically. Then we get into situations where you may be better off playing World Boss Invasion. Now, a lot of people still really love World Boss Invasion because it can be good. There we got 11 bios for 10 energy, and we got some gold. That's great. But you don't always get that, right? See, sometimes you get 5 bios for 10 energy, so that's literally half. I got way more gold, which is nice, but yeah. But sometimes I got lucky again. I got bios. Sometimes you don't get any bios. So sometimes you get like Nornstone's gold, and then you get something else. You're not guaranteed to get bios. From what I've seen, you get about 8 to 9 bios per 10 energy. So it can be better, but it can also be worse. And then of course, if you're not getting first, I got first place those 3 times. If I wasn't first, I wouldn't have got those blade bios. I wouldn't have got that last reward, that 3rd reward. So again, sort of like story mode, if all of your characters are weak, for story mode ultimate you can't compete, and then for this you can't compete for first place, so your rewards are going to drop a lot more. So really it depends on what you want to do. With story mode, the missions are a little bit longer, but it's single player, and there's not as many loading screens because the missions themselves take up the majority of the time. Here with World Boss Invasion, you actually spend more time waiting. You got to load into the mission, you got to load out, and then you also sit there waiting, loading the mission for the other teammates to load in. Sometimes you get disconnected. You can drop the mission a lot more easily because you have to connect to other players and sort of create like an instance. So some people just don't like World Boss Invasion because of that. But yeah, either World Boss Invasion or Story Mode Extreme. I personally think Story Mode Extreme is better because you have a chance to get, you know, fragments. You have a chance to get uniform XP chip, level 4 uniform XP chips. You have the type enhancement kits. You have the Norn Stones, and then you have the BIOS, and you can get, you know, 16 BIOS in one run, and it can be as fast as a World Boss Invasion run if you're lagging, right? If it's slow to load up, or if your teammates lag or whatever. So there's that you have to consider there. Then we have, next up, we have the new Danger Room. Now, the new Danger Room is actually really underrated for BIOS, because chances are you're going to get someone from either Cyclops down to Kid Omega. That's 10 BIOS a day. That's 50 BIOS a day, because you can get it 5 times, plus the daily reward of another 15. That means on average, you get 65 BIOS a day. Yeah, 65 BIOS a day from Danger Room Extreme. That's crazy good. Now, of course, you need to have enough tier 3 characters, enough awakened characters, so this is something you want to build towards, but you do all of those other things as a newer player, and you build up those tier 3s, you build up those awakened characters, and then you start putting this into your schedule, into your daily routine of playing Marvel Future Fight, because it's absolutely worth it. You want to try and play up to either Vibranium or Challenger, because if you get over to Challenger, this chest, I'm going to crack my chest open right now. The rewards are bananas. That's not the right chest, Alex. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I got 10 Abomination BIOS. I was hoping not to get 10 Abomination BIOS. If you don't get super lucky, now obviously this is great if you didn't pay for crystals for the character, but if you don't get super lucky on one of those you know, rare characters, again, if you get someone from Cyclops down to Kid Omega, you get 200 BIOS in Challenger. So there's a lot of variance, of course. If you can't play Danger Room well, if you're in Bronze, you're only going to get like 25 BIOS versus 200. But that's 200 BIOS per week. So I can't stress this enough. If you can get to Challenger and you get one of those first, whatever, 12 rewards, you're getting 265 BIOS on one day, which means that you're getting 65 BIOS a day on top of 200 BIOS a month, which means that if you don't get lucky, if you don't get any of these characters down here, okay, there's a little bit of RNG involved, of course, but if you don't get those from Danger Room, you can get 2,750 BIOS a month from Danger Room. So just from Danger Room Extreme, if you can get to Challenger and stay there, and you don't even have to play that... Why am I queuing up? You don't even have to play that much after you get to Challenger, right? Because your score only drops after you don't play for a certain number of days. So even though I'm in Vibranium, you can see here I'm still going to cash in the Challenger reward. Oh, maybe I have to be within the top 100. It's highlighted for Challenger, so I'm not sure. Maybe I'm still going to get it. But anyways, you want to maintain your grade. It doesn't actually take that much once you climb. You're getting more BIOS from Danger Room in 1 month than you need to get one normal character from level 60 to level 70. From one game mode, that's crazy. That's really, really good. So definitely make sure if you're not playing Danger Room that you start playing Danger Room. You know, add it into your daily, your daily routine, because you don't even have to win, right? To get those 50 BIOS, you don't even have to win. You only have to win to get those 15 BIOS. So it's really, really like an excellent source of BIOS. Okay, so you've done your free BIOS, your heroic quest, your dimension missions, your alliance battle normal, your legendary battle. You've done story mode and or world boss invasion. You've done your Danger Room Extreme. What else? Well, obviously weekly you want to play Shadowland. You want to get up to stage 35 of Shadowland at least, because it's at floors 5, 10, 15, and then I believe 35 you get biometrics. And you get up to 3. If you get up to 35, you get maybe it's not 35, maybe it's like 31 or 30. Maybe it's 30 that gives you the BIOS. I can't remember anymore. Anywho, once you get to 30 or 35, you get 375 BIOS a week. It's a lot of math, guys. So from Shadowland alone, and this is one of the best source of BIOS because it's BIOS selectors, right? These are BIOS selectors. These are not random BIOS. They're selectors like this. you can get, just from Shadowland, you can get 1,500 bios a month. Okay, so we've covered a lot of the different ways. What am I going to get from this? 15 orange stones. Okay, so we've covered a lot of the ways that you can farm biometrics. And of course, you can go back and you can keep doing dimension missions and you can keep spamming this. But what else is there? Of course, you can go into the Rift shop and you can buy biometrics specifically. But there's got to be more, right? Like, listen, Alex, I'm really desperate for bios. Like, there's got to be more ways to get bios. Okay, so check this out. If you have enough energy, and I do believe if you don't do story mode extreme, if you don't do world boss invasion, okay, if you don't want to do those game modes, but you have a lot of energy and you can manage it throughout the day with your boost points, and you have a lot of clear tickets, or you have time to set your phone down and let it auto run, the epic quest tracking missions are a crazy source of monthly bios if you do them every day. Now, lately with updates, they've been giving us a bonus mission where you get double the drops, which is really good. So you should always make sure you do that one bonus mission. Right now, I believe it's Ancient One that's giving you double bios. So check this out. It's going to burn my boost points away, but we're going to do 10 runs. We're going to get 20 bios just in a snap. You get some gold and stuff, but whatever. 20 bios right there. Without boost points, it's only 40 energy. So the other missions you're basically exchanging, and there's 20 of these in total. There's 20 of these types of missions. You're exchanging 40 energy for 10 bios. It's, again, not the greatest exchange of bios to energy ratio. It's obviously much worse than story mode. It's obviously worse than world boss invasion. But again, if you don't have time to play those game modes, or if you just want to clear ticket things quickly, or if you just want to do both, like if you have time to play and then at the end of the day you have a couple hundred energy left and you just want to boom and clear ticket this, hit up these tracking missions. Okay, so you've got the memory missions here. You've got these tracking missions here, which is another 20, 10 from Satana, 10 from Hellstorm. It's even more if you count the strikers, but I'm not going to count the strikers or the shifters. You want to do these ones over here. These ones give you more than 10. So it's actually, if you look at it, sometimes you get 2 bios. They never change these, but 1 1 1 2, 1 1 1 1 1 2. So you get between like 12 and 15 bios here from these missions. Then you go over to Deadpool. You have these missions here for Phantom X and Domino, exactly the same. 40 energy, 10 bios. You go over to the Fantastic Four. You've got these two plus these two, which were changed from 3 a day to 10. Again, same number of bios, same cost for gold, or for energy, sorry. You have these here for Darkhawk and, what is this, Gamora? You'll see what I'm getting to here. And then you've got these ones here for Punisher and Nebula. Now, this is going to fill up your inventory with, you know, obelisks and ISO and Uru. So it can be useful. It can also be annoying. And it's a ton of energy. You're looking at 800 energy if you run all of those missions that I'm talking about. Just the tracking missions. But for that 800 energy, you're getting 210 bios a day. So again, if we're just going for the maximum volume of biometrics, and these are guaranteed biometrics, right? You could play a bunch of World Boss Invasions and not get any chests that have bios. You could technically play a bunch of story mode extremes and not get any bios there either. You could. It's not likely, but you could. Here it's guaranteed, although it costs a lot more energy. But because you can farm up to 210 energy per day, or 210 bios with your energy per day, you can farm over 6,000 bios a month. That's right. Over 6,000 bios a month. So again, if you don't have a lot of time to play the game, but you have a ton of clear tickets and a ton of energy, I would recommend, you know, like setting up your heroic quest, doing your dimension mission, clear ticket that, go into Danger Room 5 times because it's really fast and it's actually a lot of bios, right? It's somewhere along the lines of 65 bios a day for Danger Room. Plus, you have the chest at the end of the week, which can give you anywhere from 50 to 200 bios. Then go and clear ticket the Epic Quest tracking missions. If you have more time, then you start dipping your toe into story mode, alternate mode, or story mode extreme, story mode ultimate, world boss invasion, stuff like that. Okay, but still, I'm playing this game all day long. I have more time and I have more resources to spend. Okay, so if you want to get even more bios, there's actually even more. You go over and you donate gold to your alliance. Obviously, you should be in an alliance. You go over to the alliance store and you can pick up either 20 bios here or 50 bios here. This is not a great source of bios. I don't recommend this unless you're desperate, but it is an option. You can also just take bios away from your teammates, from your alliance members. This again is not really a source of farming because someone else has to give you the bios. So it's not actually generating new bios. It's just shifting bios around between players, but If you have a whale who played all day, played for 5 years and doesn't really care about the game and just has like, 100,000 bios in his inventory and doesn't mind giving them to you, power to you, cool. You can go over to the shield lab if you have enough gold, and you can buy biometrics here. Again, I don't like this method of farming because you're exchanging one material for another, and you don't farm, like gold doesn't generate itself for you, whereas energy does, right? If you just don't play the game and you log out and you log back in a couple hours later, you'll have more energy. But if you log out of the game and log back in a few hours later, you're not gonna have more gold. So gold doesn't regenerate the way energy does. That's why I don't consider this a farming method, but it is a method of getting bios if you're desperate. Last but not least, I don't want to forget this one because it's often forgotten. Timeline battle tokens. Now, you may want to farm these characters and unlock them or get them to tier 2 or whatever. You get a free Captain Marvel from the legendary battle, so don't pick her bios up until you already have her at 6 stars. But once you get these characters, and if you don't need the comic card chests or the Uru, you probably shouldn't use the Uru. You probably shouldn't use the Uru chest. I use this chest right here, and I bop this a few times. And as you can see, it gives you anywhere from 10. It's like 10 to 20 bios, honestly. This is, what is that? That's almost 15 bios. That's 14 bios there. That's 12 bios there. That's 15, 16 bios. Yep, 16 bios there. So it's really, really dope. Sometimes you get multiple 3s. So you can get a hefty number of bios here. With your built-up honor, your built-up PvP tokens from the honor token shop. So let me show you guys the math now so you can really marvel at the possibilities. If you farm everything, if you have the opportunity to farm everything, if you have the opportunity to play the game, for several hours a day, and you're desperate to get bios, because I know how much we need bios for different content, for, taking characters to level 60, taking characters to level 70, uniform upgrades, etc. You're looking at, on the bottom end, on the low end, you're looking at about 6,500 to 6,800 bios a month, which is almost enough to get 3 regular characters like Moon Knight and Ghost Rider to level 70, right? That's not including the BAM and the Cast North Stones and the gold, but the bios. If you can be on the top end of your RNG for Danger Room, you can farm closer to 8,000 bios a month, which is almost enough to take 3.5 characters of Moon Knight's quality or whatever to level 70. If you have the energy, and if you can micromanage your energy for the Epic Quest tracking missions, those 20 tracking missions, like I said, you can farm 14,100 bios a month. That's enough bios to take Jean Grey, or Gladiator, or Apocalypse, or Odin, or Silver Surfer from level 60 to level 70 3 times every single month. 14,000 bios is enough bios to take Dormammu from level 0 to level 70, and you'll still have 3,286 bios left over, which is enough to take, Moon Knight up to level 70. How crazy is that? So I'm actually pretty happy with the number of bios that we get in the game, and I'm also quite happy with the variety of ways we have to get bios. You have pretty much single player content like story mode ultimate, where you can just grind it as much as you want as long as you have energy, and you can just play that and play that and play that to try to get bios. You can do World Boss Invasion if you want to play with other people, or Danger Room Extreme if you want to play with other people. If you don't have any time at all, you can still spam Epic Quest tracking missions, you can still spam Dimension missions, and you can still get a nice chunk of biometrics there. So I think biometrics, like just raw quantities of biometrics, is one of the few resources that we are not crippled by and really bottlenecked by. I know that some people don't have enough bios, but I'm saying that there are a lot of options out there for you to farm them. On the flip side, if you want CCF, there's one game mode besides the store where you can get CCF, right? If you want Mandalay Gem Fragments, there's one game mode. Almost every game mode drops bios, and only a handful of game modes drop gold or this or that. So they really need to take their own advice and do to their other materials what they did for bios. They put bios in almost every game mode. They should put gold in almost every game mode. They should put tier 2 and tier 3 materials in almost every game mode. It really should not be so scarce and rare. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of this new biometric farming guide. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.